so we're live.
We're on. We are live.
I think I think the best way to start us off, probably from a motivational standpoint. Let me go over here to my Facebook and make sure I'm sharing it. You share it as well, because currently right now we have nobody in the internet. It's not like there's been big news or anything dropped that other people would have other things to pay attention to, but. Yeah, so I think it's probably, and we'll probably do this a couple times, but for our American friends that watch the show, you've heard me talk a lot about the Richmond Tigers. I think we should just motivate everybody here with a short clip.
I'm going to take my headphones off.
It allows you you can step away from the computer for a minute and allow everybody to hear my team's fight song.
Congratulations. We're from Tigerland. In any weather you will see us with a grin. Risking dead skin. If we're behind, then never mind. We can fight and win, for we're from Tigerland.
I don't have to hear this more than I'm going to over the next 4 weeks.
YouTube is probably going to flag it and
I know.
Kill us, but
I suspect we're going to hear that song a few times over the next few weeks. So let's keep it to a minimum. Let's keep it to a minimum.
Well, you know. I'd love to hear from the comments. By the way, comments, same thing. Chime in, pay attention. Where are you watching from? Quit being a lurker. You're probably somebody that we don't like, and you're just sitting there watching, and you're like, ooh, look at them.
Well, when the first time you learned that our football teams get together after a game, the winning team, and link arms and sing, is that foreign to you as an American and a sports person?
Talking about with the opponent or as the team?
No, as a team. Like we sing our club song.
And that's not college football does that here.
They do.
They have fight songs. Yeah, they have fight songs.
Yeah.
You'll see them.
Okay.
Yeah, and they'll sing to the crowd. They don't necessarily lock arms. Some do. Different traditions.
Yeah. Okay.
Some do. Some don't. So I'm gonna I know you had some things last week that you wanted to get to. So we'll just kind of dive in, and we'll be all over the place. Unless there's anything you want to talk about before we get to that stuff.
Oh, look, there's a few things. I mean,
you look good this morning.
Do I? Did I look shit last week?
No. Just say you look good this morning.
You know why? You know why I look good? Because childcare opened today, and I just dropped my youngest kid off, and man, hairs are growing back.
Quiet in the house.
It's quiet in the house. It's amazing.
You and your wife aren't looking at each other. They're going to kill each other.
Man, it's amazing.
And all you
I
really
love my
want to do
kids,
is just lay down and take a nap.
No, this is good. This is good. I feel focused because like a ball of energy is not about to burst through the door and take 70% of my attention.
So I can relate. So my son goes off. He's off of quarantine now. So we made it 2 weeks with.
Oh, well done.
I don't know if we had symptoms. A couple of us had runny nose and a sore throat for a week. I don't know. We don't know. We didn't get tested. CDC guidelines, they change every 24 hours. So,
well, we had 5 cases yesterday. We had down to 5.
Well, I probably had 5 in my neighborhood.
You might have had 5 in your house.
Very good. Very good possibility. That is a very, very good possibility. So I'll let you take the lead, Davin, while I'm sharing this out.
Okay, cool. Well, something I do want to ask you about in terms of differences between our two countries.
Okay.
The way that we handle toilet water in our two countries, because something that was unusual to me was, well, when I open up a toilet, if I see that it's 80% full of water, that's alarm bells. That's alarm bells for me. That means don't put anything else in there.
Yeah,
it's going to end up on the floor.
So
Did you have the opposite feeling when you first came to Australia and saw how little toilet water? Because it's confronting.
Yes.
For an Australian.
So there's a couple things that you notice when that happens. Is you're like, okay, is something wrong? So probably the first thing you do, I would say, as an American in your country, the first thing we do is go hit, and the toilet, how it flushes is different, right?
Yeah. So you guys always say that the toilets here flush the opposite direction, but you don't really notice it because we don't have a lot of water. It doesn't spin. It just all kind of rushes in.
Just a flood of water, and then it just goes away.
And then just goes away. Whereas you guys, it does have a genuine spin. It's mesmerizing.
Well, what I guess what I was speaking to was is trying to get some folks on here to watch, so we're not just sitting here talking to ourselves. I mean, I guess that's what we're actually doing, is just talking to ourselves, I guess. But
they'll get it. They'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll watch it later.
If not, they're lost. So you guys have two different buttons to flush.
The half and the full.
So most of you have a number 1 and a number 2, right? And that's how I go. So when I think I got to a hotel, went to the toilet, number 1 or number 2, I can't remember. Looked down, no water. Probably hit the button thinking maybe, because if there's no water in our toilet, then there's a problem.
Yeah, see, and the opposite's true here. If you see a full toilet, it's blocked. That's what that means.
Let me tell you. Yeah, so that's what it means, that there's no water in ours. So it's like,
this is why every American show where they talk about the dog drinking from the toilet bowl, until you've been to America, you don't understand how that could even be possible. You sort of go, how big's the dog and how far into the toilet bowl is it? But then you get to America and you go, oh, now this makes sense because this thing is full. Thing is full.
And it's a very weird, like my dog. So we have like 100-pound dog. It's like a German Shepherd Black Lab mix. Like she's like a miniature horse walking around, in here. And like she'll have water in her bowl. Just decide to go downstairs and lap up some toilet water. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's like, what are you doing? And she did it too, because then you come out and there's like there's water drop us out. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So, and she kind of has an issue with her bladder, so you don't know if she's actually been drinking water or if she peed on the. So it's like, now we gotta. Animals are nasty. But my dog just had a knee reconstruction. Yeah, not cheap. Knee reconstructions.
I can
only imagine what a canine knee reconstruction costs. I
can tell you, it costs $1,800.
Oh.
And the good news is that when a dog does a cruciate ligament in one knee, according to the vet, it's just a matter of time before it does it in all of them.
So did you pay for all 4 or just one?
No, just one.
Okay,
just
so
one. So
I gotta ask.
that's what we.
I mean, this is probably. I mean, I'm sure there's some animal lovers that are going to see this and be like, "Shane, that's not very compassionate of you." But what kind of dog is it?
It is a schnoodle.
So it's a mutt.
It's a schnauzer crossed with a poodle.
I don't even like it. So our dog we got our dog from the pound. So like the animal shelter.
We didn't get this one from the pound.
Now, would I spend $1,800 on our dog?
On a knee?
It wouldn't matter what it is. It's $1,800.
You might spend $800 to keep it alive.
Well, and that's where I would be faced with a very difficult moral decision.
Yeah.
If I don't have kids, got to go. Got to go.
Everyone's time is up at some point.
Speaking, yes. Speaking of animals,
Yeah.
in Australia. So, if I were to buy a dog
Yeah.
in the States, my wife and I for years have always been very intrigued by a certain type of dog that when I got to Australia, I don't know if it's because like I'm aware of this breed of dog or if it's just an overly popular dog in Melbourne, but I see them everywhere. And that is a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know someone that's got
Yeah.
a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Yeah.
I've never seen one in the States in person. But I
Really?
come to Melbourne and they're especially over in St. Kilda. They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, they're not a small dog either.
No, big paw, like big paws, like
Big dog. Yeah,
So
I think they're supposed to be really good family type
So
dogs.
they're also very protective. So they're
Yeah.
they're actually African lion dogs.
Right.
That's what they are. So they use them to hunt down lions and distract the
Jeez.
lions, so they shoot them in Africa.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm super familiar with it. I'll never forget, man. In one day, I saw like 5. I was right there on
Yeah,
Acton
right.
Street, and I was sitting there eating. I was like, hey, and I was like, is that the same guy? And then
It's
there
an
was
odd
another
place
one,
for
and I
them,
finally
St.
stopped the
Kilda.
guy. Yeah, St. Kilda. Yeah, I mean,
But
obviously.
it's odd because they're big. They need space. I mean, I don't know if they're like a sleepy dog.
No, they have to be super active. So
Yeah,
I think that's
so-
probably why St. Kilda, they take them out, they swim.
Walk them heaps.
Yeah,
Yeah, to
yeah,
the
there's a
beach.
lot
Yeah,
of-
that's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of walking involved
Yeah.
in St.
Yeah.
Kilda. A lot of walking involved.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that you saw that many. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're massively popular across the board, but probably, yeah, maybe just in that suburb. There's a lot of them. There you go.
All right. So, my Facebook. Have you gotten the new Facebook yet?
I don't think so. It looks the same
trust
to me.
When you get it, you will
They
cast
just
it
get-
off. You will cast it off into Facebook. You would damn it to Facebook hell is where you will. 'Cause it's-
Really?
Oh, it's god awful. And they used to give me an option to change it
To go back to the old one.
every
Yeah.
48 hours, and now they've taken the option away.
Right.
I'm stuck. It is horrendous.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma yet? The documentary. I watched it last night.
Not yet.
You haven't seen it.
I am the social dilemma.
Mm.
Off air, I'm going to
It's-
tell you a couple things that I've been doing. Nothing illegal. Calm down. people.
Yeah.
Um,
But not appropriate for on air.
No, not even that.
No.
I'll be honest. It's a business tip and a trick that I would prefer to keep close to the vest.
Yeah, no,
Because
that's
if I
cool.
were to tell
That's
it
cool.
out and this becomes super popular, it would be a trick I could no longer use anymore. So, and it's not really a trick; it's more of a hack, and it's known because I've shared it with some people. But I will guarantee you. I will get I we'll talk off air, but I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
This is the thing that I've had this conversation with people, and I had the conversation with my wife yesterday. It's like we know how evil it is, social media, but it's also effective. It also works.
Of course.
And this is and the thing is that it's you've got the platforms as businesses and the way that they operate and the way that they structure their logarithms and their algorithms. Sorry. But then you've got the users, and the users have a choice to put good content out there, to create, to influence in a positive way. The problem is that there's no way to stop people doing the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. And so actually, I think we meant to get to this. Let's see. I just had somebody make a very ridiculous comment about Trump's taxes to me, trying to justify these
Oh,
things.
really?
By the way, if you're watching or you do watch, please comment below the video and let us know where you're watching from. We're doing that so that we can hack the algorithms and use social media marketing when it gets time to the point, so we know where in the hell our viewers are from.
Do you want to expand on the message you just got first? Or?
Well, no, not on the message, because I don't want to put that person's personal business out there. But
No, not that person, but on the subject matter, on the topic.
But first, I want to. So, I was talking about something.
We're talking about social media. We're talking about the evilness.
So I have a solution to some of this, right?
Okay.
To some of the teen youth side of things.
Okay.
As you know, when I would give talks in Australia, I would always wrap things up by talking about social media and proper ways to use it as an athlete, what parents should do, what you should monitor, those things. I believe that there should be a test that you have to take, just like a driver's license, just like other things, before you can access certain like social media platforms, right? Like Google, cool. Google, hey, it's free information, it's there.
Yeah.
But to be able to use it. And then I think every so many years as an adult, you have to do a refresher course that's put out. And the people who make who have the Facebook would have to supply their test, right? And it would have to be certain things that you have to understand and make them responsible for educating on how to decipher bullshit from worse bullshit.
Yeah. But what about the other end? So what about the platforms themselves and the way that they collect data, the way that they use that data? There was a good suggestion in the documentary.
Who cares?
There was a good suggestion in the documentary that said that there should be a tax on personal information. Now, it's not illegal to collect everything, but the more that you collect, the more tax you need to pay. So that I guess there is revenue to counteract the negative impact of the data hoarding.
I mean,
you're having a text message fight in the middle of our podcast. Is that what's happening?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to get some juicy info and try to.
You trying to break some news?
No, shit. I'm not that. Not on this. Hell, I don't want to be a. Absolutely not. I don't want to be a political insider. Trust me. Nobody with inside information is going to trust me with anything. Because. So
is this a massive story? Is this a massive story over there?
It will be. Yeah. Yeah, it will be. I mean, we couldn't be worse timing for doing our show right now with it happening, I'm sure. Because everybody else is reading Twitter feeds right now and either hearing how one side thinks that I've gotten responses of, well, maybe I mean, he paid $750 in 2016 in taxes. Maybe it's legal. Again, legal doesn't mean right.
Yeah, it doesn't mean ethical. There is a difference.
Part of the problem.
Well, and this is what
I don't want to hear semantics about anything from anybody about.
This is what Giuliani argued, wasn't it? It's not against the law, so he should be trying to minimize his tax. It's like, yeah, but
it's not against the law in some states to have sex with animals either. But that doesn't mean that it's not. That doesn't mean that it's right. So
no, it certainly doesn't.
Well, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So let's
particularly as the leader.
Thing. You're right. It's not.
He should set an example as the leader of the free world. If the example that he's setting is everyone should dodge as much tax as you can,
will go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this year our country is actually going to spend more money than we will bring in.
Yeah. and you bring in a lot.
Yes. Like more than ever in the world, like in the
Yeah.
history of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I mean, we lost all our viewers right now, but I don't care. Like, yeah, it is what it is. So I don't know.
Are you saying that we lost a couple of pro-Trump people?
Oh, I'm sure we did. I'm probably sure they're like, damn, I clicked on this bullshit to hear you talk about. Shut up. Get the hell. I don't.
No, you've
care.
got to be able to. You've got to be able to criticize. You've got to be able to criticize politicians. Like it's not a
It is
football
your
team.
job to.
It's
criticize
not a
politicians.
football team. Don't just believe and support blindly. You know, I have political leanings, but I need to be as critical for the people that I think are doing a good job just as much as the people that I don't. Like,
that's the issue I have. So not to make this all politics, because we have some other things to dive into, but the issue that I have is I'm okay with whoever you vote for, but hold that person accountable when they're wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
That's
and
it.
I think we talked about it last time. I love you.
And this is what's changed. This is what's changed about the world. And they talk about this. I think social media has, and so does the traditional media, because they've become more partisan as well. But there's no respect in the middle. There's no handshake in the middle. Everyone is throwing rocks from the other side from either side of politics. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like you choose a side, and then all your opinions fall in line behind that. You don't look at all the facts and then choose a side. Like we should be promoting swing voting. Every state should be a swing state.
Yeah.
Every state.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's again. It just goes back. It's. I don't know. I'm all for anybody. Like, I don't like. Shit, vote for me for president. I don't care, but like hold me accountable, right? I've said this, like the truest form of you and I are going to be friends for years and years and years and years. At some point, one of us is going to have a moral fault in life, right? Because we're human, right? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
The true testament of my life, we'll say you, because you're a morally deficit person. So so let's say you, right? You do something, right? The true testament whether or not I am actually your friend or not is on whether or not I actually, it doesn't have to be publicly because I know you, right? I know you personally. But if I call you and I don't check you or otherwise I just sweep it on the rug and I'm like, hey man, how'd you do that? Tell me how you did that. Like, I want to do that too.
Well, you want to do it in this state because it's legal in this state.
That is the true testament of whether or not I actually care about you or not, right?
Yeah.
Like and that's what I try to instill in my kids, right? It's like, somebody who cares about you is not going to be the person that agrees with you on everything that you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the litmus test of me being able to say, hey, we got some viewers. Hey, let us know where you are watching from. Tag, comment, something, share it, just engage in some possible way. All right. So you've got some topics you want to talk about.
Well, have you got anything you want to talk about? Well, look, here's another America Australia thing. Here's a question for you. When you're here, is there anything that we do, anything that we eat, anything that we partake in religiously that you're kind of like, yeah, I get it, I guess, but I don't see the big deal. Like, because for me, the thing that's seems to be really popular over there from a food standpoint, from a fast food standpoint, bagels and pretzels. I don't get the national collective. We love this shit. Bagels and pretzels are nice.
You might.
I don't know. Europe?
Yeah, probably Italy.
No, not bagels. Bagels would be from. Are they Dutch?
Germany, maybe.
Maybe Germany.
Yeah, looks like it.
Poland.
Poland.
You guys love that shit.
It's a Jewish
thing.
thing.
Germany.
Is it?
I think so.
Although bagels clearly had multi-ethnic origins in Poland, here in the U.S. they became Jew. Yeah,
They came fairly quickly.
Jewish
So
families
Jewish
took it.
culture. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
You guys love
yeah,
it. You guys.
yeah, we
And what
do.
about pretzels? I mean, pretzels are probably
Pretzels is a German thing.
yeah.
Wiener
They're everywhere.
schnitzels. Schnitzel. You guys eat schnitzel?
Oh yeah, one of my mates. Bagels are Jewish, I think. Thank you, Matt. But see, that's not really the question. The question is why are they so massively popular over there? You really got to bring this person into the show.
Sorry.
What's happening? You got to let us in. You got to.
If I answer to it again, I will tell it online. So, but again, you eat schnitzels.
Yeah, but we do, but they're not like ingrained in our culture. We don't. No one says, "Hey, let's go out for some schnitzels." If you happen to see, a schnitz.
I was thinking souvlaki.
Yeah, kebabs and souvlaki.
Souvlaki is part of your culture.
Yeah, but it's part of our nightlife culture. It's the thing you do before you go home.
The first
thing you do before you go
souvlaki I ever had was shout out to the owner of Abbey Road on Acton Street.
Yeah.
Happening spot. If you've ever been in St. Kilda,
it is good. It is good.
Yeah. I had my first souvlaki there. Not a fan. Kangaroo souvlaki.
Well, there's your first mistake. Kangaroo souvlaki.
No. Do
I
not.
I love roux.
I was gonna say.
But there's a better version of souvlaki than the kangaroo souvlaki.
So here's the thing. So the best roux that I ever had, we got from the Adelaide market, and it was marinated in like this sweet chili sauce.
Yeah, nice.
And cooked like medium rare.
Yeah,
pink in the middle.
Yeah, because it's game. It's game meat, so it's hard to cook because it gets
like
tough.
Deer, venison.
Yeah, venison. Yeah.
Religious? No. You don't really pay much attention to you guys' religion. You guys don't wear it on your sleeve like it's a code of honor, like we do here.
Religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have I think a low tolerance for that kind of expression and influence on each other. Yeah. Like
now, but most of your
religion's
schools,
here. Yeah. Well, I don't know about our public schools, but we do have a lot of Christian Catholic schools.
Very large amount of private.
Yeah, I went through Catholic school.
Oh, well, you're Italian.
Primary. That's right.
So,
that's right. We learned to ask for forgiveness, pretty early, and that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. No, but there's still a strong. There's a strong. The religion's strong here. I don't. It's You're right. Well, we don't wear it on our sleeve like you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you asked if there were some things like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like you guys. Chicken parm is different than our chicken parm.
Yeah,
and it's like just a giant hunk of meat breaded and fried. And
oh yeah, ooh yeah.
The chips. Now, let me tell you, best fries in the world: Australia and New Zealand.
Really?
1A and 1B. For two different reasons. One, the chips, and when I say chips, I mean fries. They are quality fries, right? Probably because they're actually real potatoes. In America, you're probably not eating real potatoes.
All your fries are always stringy? Are they always thin?
No. It all depends on where you go. Steak fries is what we call.
Yeah, steak fries.
Yeah, that's what you
chips,
guys have.
Yeah.
Now, wedges, you get wedges in some places in Australia and New Zealand too. It's not just the fries or the chips that make them great. It's the dipping sauce.
Right.
Aioli in Australia,
Yeah.
aioli and fries. Let me tell you something. This is for anybody if you travel to Australia or if you live in Australia. If you go to Brisbane, go down to the river, South Bank on in Brisbane. A bunch of restaurants right there. There's a promenade, and then there's like a whole road. It's got restaurants on both sides. Go there and go to the Plow Inn. It is a rib. They have ribs on Tuesday nights. You get like 2 kilos of ribs for like $30. That's Australian, so it's not that much. Like American money is good money. And fries and aioli. You one meal, one order of that would feed 2 people. It's like you're eating in America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in New Zealand, you know what they use for dipping sauce as a majority?
No, I don't.
Sour cream and chili sauce.
Sour cream and chili, right?
Yeah, sweet chili and sour cream.
Yeah, so we do a bit of that for wedges.
Yeah, but they do it like everywhere. Like you got to do aioli everywhere. They everywhere. I bet I put on 14 pounds my first trip over. Just man, I'll never forget. We where was I? I ate chips. There's a restaurant in is it no? I think La Porchetta is New Zealand. I think
no, that's Australia.
Is it
La
Australia?
Porchetta, yeah. CH is K in the Italian language. La Porchetta.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chain of restaurants here in Australia.
I think they're in New Zealand too.
Probably.
Yeah, so like they have some in America, but there's no way it's the same thing. It might be actually.
There are some in America.
It looks like it.
Really?
Looks like there's a lot. Looks like there might be some. I might have just. Nah, there's no way. So it's not the greatest of environments, right? It's like Australia and New Zealand, so it's in both. So that's what I thought. So this place, an Italian restaurant, killer chips, sour cream. They have wedges, sour cream, and sweet chili sauce. If you've never had sour cream and sweet chili sauce, you're missing out. So
the one thing I like that you guys do is you use sucralose as a sweetener in your diet soft drinks.
No.
We still have aspartame in ours like that. Like I cannot.
One.
I see. I just can't do high.
So I just had some, so we have delivery here. You literally can get the liquor store delivered to your house.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we're doing that here too.
Oh, yeah. So all right, my bad. Sorry.
we have Uber Eats here.
Yeah, but it isn't through Uber Eats like this.
Yeah,
is like,
no. I know. Yeah.
I know you have Uber Eats. I've been using Uber Eats. That's how I eat a majority of my meals. I'll actually tell you about that too. Dealing with the traffic and the times, and maybe I've already talked about this some, but we got some drinks. So they have this new like lemonade pre-mixed drink. I was like, oh, that looks good. I'm gonna try it. As soon as it hit my mouth, I can taste the alternative sweeteners.
Right.
I'm done. I can't do it.
Yeah, like
won't do it.
Really?
Not gonna do it.
Well, diabetes is a problem.
Well, I don't know. I guess. Yes, it is. Yes. I mean, yes, diabetes is a problem.
Well, what about our Coke versus your Coke? Because I find our Coke is a lot sweeter than yours because you use high fructose corn syrup and we use cane sugar.
Yeah.
I find your Coke is not as sweet.
I just think they lie to y'all and put that on the label. And
we have a lot of cane sugar in Australia.
Yeah. Bundy.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a little bit left.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
For those of you in America, if you've never had Bundy and Coke, it's It is a cane sugar fermented rum.
And everybody who lives in Bundaberg works at the distillery. It is the only business in the entire city. No, that's not true.
Well,
That's not true.
there's
But
a
a lot of people.
McDonald's. There's a McDonald's,
It's,
and I've
it's
been
got to
there.
be. There's a supermarket.
I have been there. I will also tell you it was easily one of the most sketchiest McDonald's that I've ever been in
Really?
anywhere in the world.
Really?
There-
Bundaberg McDonald's.
There and Ringwood. McDonald's in Ringwood. I had to, and then I'm going to get to my story. I had to pay for a person's meal. I had to help a woman who, in one trip there, I had to help a woman who locked her keys in her car. And I had to break up a domestic dispute in the parking lot. In one trip. This is the God's honest truth.
And McDonald's in Ringwood. Right.
Sketchy.
Well, McDonald's in Clifton Hill has a brothel next to it. So if you want sketchy,
okay. No.
that's about as sketchy as
Time out.
it gets.
No. What better place to have a McDonald's?
No. Work up an appetite, you know?
Hey, you get a bit hungry, man. Hey, need a bite. Need some new spicy nugs on the way back to the house.
Spicy nugs.
But that being said, and when he says brothel, he means like legal brothel because prostitution.
Legal,
is legal.
yeah. It is.
See, that's not the same here, right? Same thing. We won't get into that. That will be a whole subject for a whole nother. But
not all the brothels here are legal. Let me just say that much. But it is possible to run a legal business in that industry.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about Uber Eats and talking about traffic in Melbourne, so you got restaurants closed, your kitchen's closed. We may have talked about this on a previous episode. But
depending where you go,
not
9
depending
p.m.
where you go. Wednesday at 8:30 at night.
If you're on Lygon Street, we talked about this. Lygon Street, you'll get a meal at 2 a.m, 3 a.m.
Well,
but not everywhere.
Yeah,
not everywhere.
So what we had to start doing, is
Chapel Street, you'll get a meal.
We would leave our seminar, and we would have the menu, and it would take us so long to go a very short amount of distance that we would just call them. We would put in our order in Uber Eats when we left. By the time we got to the place, got to our Airbnb, unpacked, and we're there, boom, food would show up.
Turns up. Yeah.
But that was the only way for us to catch in and pop in. So again, if you're listening, I'm gonna say this about 75 times, and Davin's probably gonna tell me before that next episode, hey man, you don't have to wear the people out about. Hey, look, where are you from? If you are watching, comment below and let us know where you're from. So let's get to your topics.
Well, I'm firing topics at you, but let's.
There were some things
that we have talked about a lot as friends, and one of those things
do we
is
publicly talk about those things.
Is what's that?
I said, do we want to publicly talk about those things?
Yeah, not everything, not everything. I want to talk about mental health and entrepreneurship, man. Because we've had some pretty good, robust discussions about.
So I'll share my side, and you share whatever you want to on your side. So
sure.
We have had. I'm very open about mental health. I'm very open about my own mental health. I have a therapist that I go see, not because I'm depressed and I guess I'm saying that to not like lighten the load. I'm saying it to say that like you don't have to have something wrong to go.
Absolutely.
And I go because I want answers, and I'll share. So I'll share mine. So, and I'll talk about this publicly on numerous different platforms. I go to therapy because I want to know why I've been able to figure certain things out in life and why I've been able to hit the right road, but other people around me weren't able to figure out, who had it better off than me, who had other things. So my questions are, why me? What makes me so special to figure this out? What makes me so special to have the connections and friends and things that I do? And I know some of the answers, and the reality of it is I'm probably never going to have most of the answers, but that is where my therapist, and I'm not fresh up on it like I should be, but my therapist says that I am in what's called transcendence psychology, which is the highest. It totally sounds like I'm bragging, but that's not what I'm just sharing my experience. It's the highest form of consciousness from a psychological standpoint you can have. And I'm totally open to Googling, diving into it, whatever. I'm stating this because it is my own experience, and I'm letting the boundary be set for you. That you can ask me whatever you want to ask me, wherever, on whatever that like it is. Most men at 40 years old, when you turn 40, the best present that someone can get you close to you, if you're not already, is like 6 or 7 sessions to a therapist, because it's going to take.
Well, I'm
you
approaching 40, and I'm pretty close.
Yeah, so it's not.
I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, so the reason I say that, because it's going to take. The reason I say 6 or 7, it's going to take you at least 2 episodes to get to a point to where you're even comfortable with telling this person, male or female, anything remotely, sensitive at all, and then it's going to flow, and then it's going to feel normal. But you have to. I'm blessed enough that I also have friends like Davin. I would like to think that I'm also a friend like that when it comes to people that they can hit me and say, "Hey, I'm in it, man. I'm going through it," because I went through it. I went through it in my business. Maybe not all of you who have followed me since then were privy to my work ethic and my grind and my ridiculous, and to be honest, like horrible, like it was bad. Like it was like I'm not like glorifying in any way. I literally, for the last year of me working and doing CCR, I slept probably every other day.
Yeah, it's always been a big concern of mine for you is the hours that you're awake.
I would.
It's almost all of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you hit me just the other day, and you were like, "Hey,"
you were like,
"Dude, go to bed. Like, just go to bed. Like, just go to bed." Like out of nowhere, he's like, "Just go to bed." But and then I was only sleeping like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Every other day, like it messed my body up. It jolted me. But again, I'm open with it. So I'm stating that before you share your side. I'm letting you know cool. I'm totally cool, and I'm totally open with whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hypersensitive to the sleep thing because it's been a huge cause for all my problems, just because. And I hate to say, I had this issue and now the problem's solved, because I think there's a level of
there's a better word than solved.
Well, there is, but there's
under
a level
control.
of weakness. There's a level of weakness as well to say, well, I'm happy to talk about it now that the problem's gone. Like that's not the time to talk about it. The time to talk about it is when you're in it.
That's the weakest. So that's actually that's actually the weakest point to talk about it.
That's right. So, but. Yeah. So in terms of the sleep thing, it was an exploration for me, and because I battled for a long time mentally, like I studied psychology for 4 years at uni. I should have been the first person to put my hand up and say I need help, but I didn't. I didn't, and I think part of it is, people say that mental health should be like physical health. You break your leg, you go and get it attended to. I don't like that analogy, because when you break your leg, you can see that your leg's broken, and you live the experience. You know why it's broken. But when you're battling mental health, oftentimes you don't recognize where the causes come from. So it's easy to kind of to own it and say, well, obviously it's just come out of nowhere. I can get through it. I can battle it. I can get out of it.
In the battle, you don't know what's causing it.
No, you don't know what's causing it.
When you're going through the battle of it, yeah.
And I think the scary thing is for a lot of people, and for me at the time, and having found some things that have helped a lot, is you can make decisions in that moment thinking that your mental health issues are being caused by something that like you could just walk out on your family, you can quit your job, you can do really big life-changing things because you think they're the reasons why you feel the way you do, and they're
Yes.
just not. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No.
it's scary. It's
Yeah.
scary.
It is. It is. And I think for me, yeah. I mean, my. I went through a lot of different layers. Now I've been blessed to be very, 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 very self-aware for a very long time in my life. So which is also what makes me kind of that friend, I think, where people hit me and like, hey, um, but so even that you carry there's a weight that you carry from other people as well, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
so when I would be that guy, whether it's employees, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whatever, when you're carrying everybody, when you're, I make the joke, like even Batman gets tired sometimes too, right? Like
Mm,
they're like, you just like everybody has a wall, like,
mm.
like, and yeah, like for me, it was multiple layers, right? It was, I never, I would say, probably the last 8 months of CCR, I was probably depressed, or maybe borderline depressed. Um,
Yeah.
but depression isn't what I think like the movies and TV, like
No.
it's not like I'm like sitting in the corner crying. Like I guarantee you, no one knew.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
no,
That's
no
right.
one knew. I
No.
would. People thought like.
Mm.
I'll let you share it because this is, I think, so this is a good perspective. Give your perception of Shane
Mm.
and like my work ethic for context, so people that
Yeah.
understand.
No, like back then, you were as active as any other time that I've known you, and forward, and still, I mean, you'd still try and connect, and when you were here, you'd still be flat out.
But like, I don't think people understand. Like when I say how much I was working, I don't think they actually. And I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it because I think sharing the context of how much I was actually working.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what's always worried me about you, because I feel like those are the things that led me to where I ended up as well, and the lack of sleep. And for me, it wasn't, because a lot of entrepreneurs wear their lack of sleep with like a badge of honor. If you're getting 7 or 8 hours sleep a night, you're not an entrepreneur. You've got to be getting 4.
Yeah,
And it's just terrible. It's just terrible advice. And the thing is that because in my experience, that literally put out my fire. They're not sleeping.
I agree.
Snuffed it out. I just
agree.
well, what's the point then?
Me too. Okay.
Because I identify with that fire. My whole childhood and through my 20s, I was ambitious. I was hardworking. I chased things. And then you get into your early 30s and that changes. You're like
in my late 30s.
That's a scary thing,
So I'm going to agree, and I'm also going to disagree.
Okay.
Long-term sustained 10 years of doing it nonstop, like you're a human, like you're superhuman, is not good. Okay.
No, it's exactly what I did through my 20s.
So that is exactly what I did with CCR. From the time I was 29 until the time I was 39, I literally rarely slept. Like I would never like when I say, I know people think they go through and they don't have sleep. I promise you.
No.
I promise you.
You're next level, man.
I promise you, I can share with you things that if they were studied, they would push the boundaries of human cognizance. Right. So
the only people that I know that sleep as little as you are the people that I know to be clinically insomniacs. Like they physically can't do it.
But I'm not, though.
I know.
I can lay down right now and sleep 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sleep now.
I recommend it, man.
There is a drive, but listen, but I firmly believe
Mm.
that you can't, like, you have to have something different about you to get to a place.
Yeah, I mean, it was nothing for me to.
I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know you right now if I didn't have that level of go.
Yeah, for sure. I look in, and I knew that I'd gone too far when I no longer needed caffeine to stay up all night. I could just stay up all night and work through.
Oh, I've never needed
when
caffeine.
When I was at uni, I needed caffeine to keep going to meet a deadline. But in my 20s, I was like, I didn't even need it.
No,
Yeah, I'd probably get to 6. I reckon 6 a.m. and then I'd be like, all right, I'm done. Sometimes I would push through, go to work, and not sleep, and make it through to the next night. And that next night, is the best sleep you'll ever have.
I would.
You shouldn't need to stay up all night to get it.
I would be able to nod off for about 6 minutes in my office, just sitting at my desk, wake up, and be good to go for another 8 hours.
But you have to feel like shit.
Brother, there were times where I was laying down and taking naps in the office, and like my employees would like open the door and the door would hit me and they'd be like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't know you were like in here sleeping." Like you just like, again, but we're trying to do something that nobody ever done. You can't do that. And
but you need that fire. You need the energy to do it. You
had
need
the energy,
motivation. Yeah, well, I lost it. Like
I lost it too. I'm not. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree that it's like, so like there's all these studies right now of microdosing psilocybin, LSD.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what it does, the benefits it does for your brain.
Yeah.
I think that is what extreme work does, right? You've got to learn how to figure out how to do it in doses. You've got to learn how to take sprints with it and not become addicted to it. I was addicted to it. Do you not
worry about neurological issues later in life because I worry about that. The lack of sleep.
Psilocybin is going to fix all that. Have you read the reports?
It's going to fix everything.
Yeah, but no, it lengthens your neurotransmitters, like the whole bit.
That's mushrooms, right?
They just legalized it in Colorado. I'm gonna go. I ain't gonna say that, but yes, yeah.
So for me, when I realized that my mood and my mental health issues stemmed from my sleep, was I had a client who ran a supplement company, Nick Jones, and I would just talk to him about this sort of stuff, and he suggested just taking tryptophan. Right?
I remember you telling me, and we're not doctors on the internet, nor do we pretend to be. So he's only sharing his own personal experience.
Yeah, this is my experience. This isn't a formula for success, because it wasn't the answer anyway. I still take it pretty regularly, but what it did was, the first time I took it, it made a difference. Like, it was the first time I'd taken anything. So tryptophan's an amino acid. It's in bananas. It's in turkey.
Yeah, we get it a lot. It's what happens when you eat a big Thanksgiving meal and then you're sitting off to the side. And
that's right.
Dozing off.
Yeah, we say the same thing about Christmas as well. But it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and just based on my research, and again, I'm not an expert, but there is a hierarchy in terms of which amino acids cross the blood-brain barrier in what sort of order of, there's a pecking order, and tryptophan is low. So if you consume it with other nutrients, it may not get through. And tryptophan is what the body uses to make serotonin, and then from serotonin we get to melatonin. Anyway, I took tryptophan, and the next day I hadn't felt that awake and that fresh and that well mentally in years. Like, it wasn't
the tryptophan, it was the fact that you got sleep.
Well, the tryptophan helped me to sleep. But so I thought I had the solution, and it worked for a while, and then it stopped being as effective. And then, so my wife then convinced me to do an overnight sleep study in a hospital. So I went to see a sleep specialist. He diagnosed me with delayed sleep phase syndrome. So he said my body clock, melatonin kicks in at 2 a.m. and it stays in my system till 10. That's why I can't get to sleep at night, and I can't get out of bed in the morning. So that's what he diagnosed me with.
Same.
But I used to sleepwalk as a kid throughout my whole life. Still sleepwalk, sleep talk, do all kinds of crazy shit.
My son, we recently found out, my 13-year-old, he woke up in the shower about 2 weeks ago
God.
with clothes on.
And the water running?
Yes.
That would have woken him up, surely.
Yes.
That would have woken him up. Yeah, I used to do crazy stuff like that too. So anyway, so he put me. We did an overnight sleep study. It turned out that I was in shallow sleep. I was waking up, so I was never getting through the full sleep cycles, which is why I was exhausted. Prescribed me melatonin, and I haven't looked back. But the thing is that I'm not perfect, but I'm so much better than I used to be, and I'm still thinking about, like you said, going to see a psych, and because you can see.
So you haven't yet?
No.
Why not?
But
so I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah. I think there's two ways. This is just going to be an excuse. I should have.
Probably is. So I'm asking. So just tell me what your excuse is. Share it with, because I think it's valuable for other people.
Yeah, I think the perception. I think you can have two different views on what a psychologist will give you. You can see a psychologist as someone like that's going to be a health professional that's going to help your issues, or you can see a psychologist like a mental personal trainer that's actually going to help you progress, develop, and achieve. And I'm ready for that experience. I didn't think that I felt like my issues.
So I'm
I think back on that time now, and I wonder whether a psychologist would have listened to what I was going through and asked me about my nutrition, my sleep,
okay,
my activity. Like
so,
I think that
I'm gonna play psychologist.
So, but what that means to me is because there are people that have mental health issues. That
we all have mental health. It's either good or bad.
But they're not going to be necessarily solved the same way that my issues were solved. Some people have far more significant issues than I ever had, and the issues that I had were debilitating. You know, like they were.
Yes.
I mean,
you said that you wonder, is there a fear that they're going to change you somehow,
or that it was
no, is there a fear of going to therapy and then you're going to, like, something's going to change about you?
No,
that you don't want. See, that's me. Okay, so I'm projecting on you, right? So
okay, cool. I don't have that fear.
For me, and this is just me being transparent. This is none of this comes from a place of arrogance, but I have a few skill sets mentally that I would call superpowers. And I'm like, I have the ability to process certain things because of my ADHD at a very quick rate.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to use that in the world and use it to my advantage. And also I have a unique sixth sense about a lot of things and patterns, right? So I can see patterns. I can understand, like I told you about the blackjack or the roulette wheel. Like I just have that ability. That was always a fear of mine, is it's going to take, I don't want to lose I am willing to go through, I am willing to deal with the downside of having these superpowers than to lose my superpowers and not be able to have them. So for me, that's the truth. That's me being honest.
I don't see that would be a threat unless they're prescribing you medication that's going to alter you.
Potentially, but what if they tell you that's the only way? What if you go to 17 therapists and they tell you that's the only way they can help you?
Well, I think that knowing a little bit about,
it's the fear that I'm going to be told.
Yeah, for sure. But people need to understand that psychologists can't prescribe medication because they're not medical doctors like a psychiatrist is. So a psychologist, if they're going to believe in their own treatments, they're going to try and exhaust what they've got in their tool set before medication is an option, unless they recognize that your issues are biological, physiological, and they say we need to refer you to something a bit deeper.
Maybe because I think that's subjective. It's in America. I think it's subjective because
Maybe.
I think there are some people who are lazy. It all depends on who you get, right? Like, so me, I
Yeah.
am like a, I am, I am, I am very much trying to think how to word this.
Are you looking for an efficient
No, so like,
way to solve the issues?
no, well, yes, right, but I'm looking for the most natural, and I'm looking for the easiest.
Yeah.
So for me, I do a lot of research. I mean, I've hit you with all kinds of things like
Yeah. Yeah.
off
We've
the
talked
wall.
about that stuff.
Yeah. So I do a lot of research. And for me, I'll call my doctor and say, hey, I want to get some blood work done. Can you call in this order? I want to check this, and this. It's
Yeah.
how I finally got my thyroid fixed because of just knowing how to. Again, it's one of my superpowers. I know how to find information and follow a pattern, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not like some medical savant. I just
No,
know
but
how to do the research.
that's right. You have an inquisitive kind of mindset. You like to investigate. You like to problem solve,
Yes.
and that's part of your nature as well.
Yeah.
You have an intuition, and you have a drive to solve problems internally and externally. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know. So kind of going back to it into men, I know you mentioned entrepreneurship, but I'll even just say like men with responsibilities and a family and a job or a coach or, these different things. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's just kind of like, men, like we gotta tear down the stigma.
Yeah, and like I said, I think maybe it is just a change in perception. Maybe it's not that we should see it as I've got an issue and I need help, even though that is, we shouldn't have a stigma around that. But I think if we saw it as, I'm investing in myself, I'm investing in my future, I'm investing in my strength, like I said, like you would get a trainer or you'd get a mentor, a business mentor. You need
you guys in your country also have a different approach to mental health than we do here. It's way more commonly talked about publicly in Australia than it is here.
Well, maybe, but I feel like America was really ahead of us in terms of the embracing of counselors and therapists.
That may be true, but you guys have like you guys implement it within your sport. You implement it within, like, it's like you have a national "Are you okay" day. Like
we do, yeah.
Like we don't have those things.
Right? Yeah, but we don't have sports psychs like you guys do. I mean, every professional team would have.
We don't have them at all. You won't see one in youth sports in America.
Really?
They're non-existent. Never, brother. We didn't have an athletic trainer at my high school.
Right. But at the professional level, you would have them, and you saying
that's
you
at
have
the
them at the
professional
college
level. You got to remember how many people are playing sports that aren't professionals here in America.
But you guys have like school counselors and stuff. Like we didn't really have
141 students per counselor average in American school.
Yeah. But we had schools where we didn't even have a school counselor. The school counselor was, I don't know, the person in first aid.
But they don't do it. What do? They don't have time to deal with anything other than the most immediate issue.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe we're better at maybe talking about mental health, but I feel like
it's not as much of a stigma.
Maybe not. Yeah, no, I think that's probably different. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think you guys are
it's still Americans
stick up a lip,
I'm
just
a man and I'm tough and toughen up, man up. And that's like look, I know there's people gonna watch or listen to this and they have no idea who I am. I'm 6'6". I'm a big guy. I'm not soft. Like, you're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to, like, I mean, Davin's been around me enough to know, like, you know, I'm just not like but
Yeah.
go freaking talk to somebody.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And like my experience, you know, and the thing that was a big sort of that weighed heavily on me was, if this is stopping me from running my business effectively, if this is stopping me from being a good dad, if this is stopping me from picking up the phone when it rings because I just don't want to talk to anybody, those are life performance issues that need to be addressed. You know,
And you don't have to answer this, but did your wife ever say anything to you?
Yes and no. Like, we talked about it pretty openly. Like, I'd never hide it from her, and I never hid it from people. I just didn't come out and seek help. I didn't come out and seek help. She kind of was an empathetic ear, but I don't think she really encouraged me to go and get help.
Yeah.
She encouraged me to go and get the sleep stuff sorted out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But again, because that was probably more interpreted to a medical issue.
Correct.
Then so it was like,
absolutely.
Oh, medically you might not, like, something may be wrong. We need you here. That's how, and that's the difference with. So I can give you an example. So the thyroid, for example, it's one of the most underdiagnosed things for adult males,
right?
Because one of the main symptoms of it is lack of energy and being tired. Doctors will tell you, men don't walk into the doctor's office and say, "Doc, I got to do something. I'm just exhausted. I'm tired. I'm like," they don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's never caught until they actually pull the blood work to look for it. It's not caught. And I recommend, there are a couple of things. Again, I am not a doctor. I do not play one on the internet. I am only sharing my personal experiences. I tell people, as a male, you should go get your vitamin D checked. You should get your B12 checked. You should get your testosterone checked. You should get your thyroid checked, and you should get your pituitary with prolactin checked. Even if you have nothing wrong, get a baseline so that you know where things are, and then regularly, every 6 to 12 months, get them checked. So, because those things are going to be quick markers that won't kill you, but they will affect your quality of life, whether it's mentally, mentally and physically, a lot of different things. So, but I've always never had a problem. Like, I never had a problem. Like, massages have always been a version of therapy for me.
Yeah, totally. I've highly recommend people getting regular massages.
Yeah. Because for me,
I started doing that a few years ago as just this is my thing. This is my treat for myself, and it stopped being a treat and it started to become a necessity. Like, it's like,
so this is the fewest I've had. This is the fewest I have had in a long time.
Likewise.
And I will tell you that I noticed a difference. Now, I don't have any pains. Like, I started out getting them because when I would fly and travel, my shoulders pull in and I'd stretch the muscles in my back. And I'd have impingements in my shoulders. It was just sucked. It sucked. So when I would land in Australia, it got to be where I wouldn't book anything for that first day. And I would go and I would book a massage and go get a massage done. When I got there, just because I'd be hurting sitting on the plane for 16 hours in a seat that's not made for a man my size, and going through that. But but then it got to the point to where it was like, okay, like I've like, I can't tell you how many times I fall asleep, just knocked out cold. But a lot of that was due to exhaustion, right? Like, I was in a place where I had no interruptions, no phone in my hand, no one asking me something, no one needing my input on something. And then then it's like an escape, and it would go, and I would apologize. And then finally
silent.
I've got a lady that I see pretty regularly here, and she was just like, Shane, she's like, don't even stress it. She's like that. Like, so I'll tell you, I'm going to share with you, you talk about, I never had anybody really pull me aside and say, like, I mean, you've always made comments. People have always made comments like, dude, how in the hell are you still functioning? Like, I like, Shane, you've been in our country for 3 weeks. How are you? Like, what do you? No, I'm not going to meet you. Like, even I remember, like, the last time we had dinner, you were like, no, dude, it's getting late. I'm like, no, like, I'm fine. I promise, I'm fine. Like, I've never taken recreational drugs. I've never done any of those things. It's just been like, hey, let's just see. This is just naturally who I am. I have a level that I can go to that most people can't tap into. Well, I'll never forget, man. And I've never mentioned this publicly at all. But about 3 or 4 weeks before I made the decision on CCR, I went and had lunch with my attorney, and very, 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 very successful attorney. Massively successful. Pulls me aside, or no, not pulls me aside. We're having lunch, and he looks at me and he's like, "How much longer are you going to do this?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Dude, you're 5 years younger than me, and you look 10 years older than I do." He's like, "You look like shit." That's what he told me. And he's like, man, he's like, at some point you have to make a decision and decide where is your mental space. And this is my attorney who represents the business, who is only employed if this business continues to stay open. Now, granted, my money didn't mean, it's chump change to him for what he's been doing. But yeah, I mean, it's, no one else, but that goes back to being this superhuman figure, right? Like, yeah, you're my friend, but maybe now you would, but 2 years ago, if you and I were meeting and like you wouldn't have challenged me on something like that would have been like a really like tough challenge. Like you wouldn't have been like, you're not leaving here until you do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
Not because, well, maybe because you might have been scared of me, but
also
unless,
no, I think if you had have opened up to me with that, I may have pushed you, but I wouldn't have.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't. But again, that goes back to being you're successful. You are who you are. You're a big guy, Shane. You're very forward. You're very direct. Like, I'm not going to win this argument, right? Like. But my attorney, I don't know why, but he caught me in that moment. I'll never forget. We were one of the only people in the restaurant. We were sitting there. It was raining outside, cold. And he was just like, "What are you doing?" Just as honest as can be. He's like, and not, like, I love that dude. Like, he doesn't know it, I'm sure, but I have way more respect for that man than he probably has any idea, because he put every personal, benefit aside and said, "Hey, this is the issue, and you need to fix it." So, I mean, that's my personal experience, and I think we'll probably have many, 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 many discussions on this. And I'm even open to having guests on to talk about it as well.
I think that'd be good. I mean, I think that's, and I think that's right. Like, the part of the reason why we don't seek help for mental issues is similar to the reasons why we don't walk away from something when it's no longer good for us as well, or it's. Yeah,
I mean, I had to do it with CCR. Like, that was easily one of the hardest decisions that I've ever made in my life. And I've been divorced. I've been like, because for me, I cared not only cared so much about my job and cared so much about the people that I worked with and the people that worked alongside of me, but I cared so much about your country. I cared so much about the people that we served that it was that was a tough. It didn't take me long to get through it. It took me about 6 weeks to get through it. But I will tell you, and I had therapy. That's when I started my therapy. So for full context, I went to a therapist when I made the decision to change my career and shut down a business that I had built into this international thing. In a way of, for me, I knew I would be okay. I knew I wasn't suicidal, wasn't any of those things. I knew I was going to be okay, but I was going through something that I'd never been going. And this is why I recommend people to go do this. I was going through something that I had never experienced before, and I wanted to have a trained professional that did not know me to be able to possibly see something that I might miss that might be detrimental to me or my health. So that is why I did that. So that's my therapist. Like we have like awesome conversations. I've actually interviewed her. She actually would probably come on here for an interview and do this. Because but I'm totally open about it. Because so she went through that with me. So she was able to kind of see, which is a good baseline for her, because she's like, okay, this massively traumatizing thing you just went through, this is how you handled it. Like, oh, okay. Well, now I have a gauge on the rest of life, and how it's going to affect you and those things. And I'm not trying to make this all about me. I'm just sharing my
it's good, man. It's
experience, because we're all real and we're all human. And I do know
through heavy shit, and sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Sometimes it kicks you, in the guts when you're not expecting it. And sometimes it's in front of our face the whole time, and we just need to make a big decision like you did. And you need to have the courage to do that.
Well,
and get through that. Knowing that
hardest part, I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but the hardest part,
you're right.
The hardest part for me was I thought and I think a lot of men go through this. I thought that all these people all over the world that know me, I still hate talking about myself in that context because it makes me sound completely narcissistic. But people all over the world that knew me and loved me and just have showed an amazing amount of respect and generosity and hospitality anywhere I go, anywhere in the world. It's always been like that. I felt like, my identity was my business. So the reason that you were friends with me, the reason that you did what you did, the reason anybody was there for me was because of my business. And what I found out is that was true for some people. But what I found out is the people that I called friends, it didn't affect anything at all. And they were like, Shane, like we were doing business with you, not with CCR. I don't care. I don't know your company. I was doing business with you.
With you.
We had you in. And that was a huge, I didn't believe it. First couple of weeks, I'm like, you're just telling me whatever I want to, so I don't go off the deep end. You're just telling me whatever. But yeah, man, I will tell you, I developed some anxiety coming out of it. Still to this day have a little bit. It's triggered more from probably it actually triggers a medical response, my digestive system, that I haven't really explored yet, that I probably need to.
Yeah, I'm in that situation right now.
Yeah.
I'm exploring that. And as you say that, it's is it just stress induced? I mean, I'm trying different things from a dietary standpoint. I'm taking out gluten. I'm increasing this. I'm increasing that.
But it's a journey, right? And, we live in a time where there's never been any more information, never been any better medicine, never been any better technology. So it's the best time in the world to try and dive in. And, I think some people think the scariest thing in the world is finding out something is wrong, or finding out you need some help, or finding out you need to talk to somebody. I would actually say the scariest thing in the world is actually not knowing.
Yeah.
Because if I know I can get it figured out. And if I know, I can dive into it. There's actually a guy in, do you know Izzy? Izzy Jones. You know Izzy. So his brother speaks a lot on this, and has a company called Just Be Nice, the Just Be Nice project,
Right.
and he would be a really really good one to have on and talk about mental health, and those things as well. And I know you need to go. I know you got some things you got to tend to. So
No, I just lost you got me?
I got you. You
I
did
just
it
had
again.
the same battery issue, yeah.
Is your part still not come in yet?
It still has not come in.
I could literally mail it to you and it would get here quicker than it is going to get from China.
I know. It's been sitting in a depot in China since the start of September.
It's not coming, Davin.
No, it's not coming. But yeah, no. Izzy would be great, and his brother would be great to get on.
Yeah. So speaking of China, I found this out before we went on air. There's been 47,976 trademarks filed in the United States in September. 18,000 of those 47,000 were from China.
Right.
So it's like, why are they trying to somehow manipulate or undermine? And I got to be careful about talking about that. I'm not going to talk about that anymore because I have business and some business interests in China. So see, I'm a capitalist.
You're a capitalist to the bitter end.
So yeah, but anyway, not to divert. That just made me think of that ADHD brain. But going back to therapy and stuff, yeah, it's again, I think these open conversations are to be had, and they need to be had.
100%. And yeah, I mean, well, I've got good news on my part. It got scanned on the 27th, and it is in Melbourne. Arrived at Melbourne, so I could have power by next week. Anyway, I just had a look. So that was 12 days without an update from.
How much is a pack of 4? I know this answer. How much is a pack of 4 batteries in?
I don't know. I've got rechargeables. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've bought numerous batteries in your country. I've bought numerous extension cords.
Yeah.
And I just leave them because I have no use for them coming back home. So I just leave them. I guarantee you people have found like stacks and piles of like adapters and things. And they're like, what are they doing? Like, hey, I don't have any room in my luggage. Like I got
Did I tell you the story about my trip when I was last in Vegas and I'd lost my charger for my MacBook Pro. So I went into an Apple store to buy another charger, which nothing from Apple is cheap. And I said, look, I've lost my charger. And he's like, oh, how long are you in Vegas? And I said, oh, I'm here for 10 days. And he goes, look, man, we've got a no questions asked 14-day return policy. He goes, just buy it. And he goes, before you fly out, just return it and we'll give you your money back. I'm like, that's great service. That's great service.
Dude. Yeah. You got to love Apple. You get what you pay for with Apple.
Yeah, you do.
So what do you think about this episode before we wrap it up?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I think the show's going to evolve, and I think maybe it will become more business centric. Maybe it will become more health centric. I think we've got to throw in a little, we've got to keep throwing the Australia versus US stuff.
Yeah, I think if we're like, I think it's just is what it is. And like, we're still recording. And I think this is part of it. Like, it's just, I want this to be where, man, 2 blokes sitting around. And
I want people to feel like comfortable with jumping in. I'd like to see that happen. I want to see who's going to be our first non-scheduled visitor to the show who jumps in and jumps out. I want to see that happen. Maybe we make it Izzy. There's a call out to Izzy.
Oh, that's done. Matter of fact, I'll unless they just have something going on with restrictions lifting, and Josh can't be on. I would guarantee they're great people, man, and they're big supporters of me, and I'm big supporters of them. By the way, if you're in Melbourne, St. Kilda, go check out Jones Brother Gym over on Albert Park. If you're looking for a place to work out, they will kick your ass. And you'll have a good and you'll have a good time doing it. So they are not sponsors of the podcast, but we'll definitely. I shouted out Piccolo on Ligon Street. I'm telling you, I want you to videotape if you ever go there. You videotape and you walk up and you ask and you say, I need to speak to the owner. Short, bald Italian guy. I know they're all short and bald. And
not excluding me, obviously.
Yeah, so, and you tell him, say, hey, Shane, Big Shane from America. He's going to say, yep, come right here. I've got you. So, by the way, I got a new toy. This thing right here. So I've got plantar fasciitis.
Right.
You put this thing right here and you push down real hard with both hands and you dig into your knots and your calf muscles and your quads and your hamstrings. It will cause your temperature to raise. Yeah, it's like $6. Kind of like a massage therapist.
Yeah.
So anyway, to wrap it up, yes, I think this will be this is going to be an evolution of stuff, and we're going to do. I want people, again, like you said, I want people to feel like they're sitting and hanging out with us.
Yeah, totally.
And a part of the conversation. So I don't want this to be formal at all. And I'm glad we dove into some really heavy shit.
Let's keep going there, man. That's where the good stuff is.
Cathartic. It's cathartic for us as a word. Whoever just popped on and just started watching right now, do you know what the word cathartic means? If you know what the word cathartic means, I want you to put it, do not copy and paste from a dictionary. Type it down below. Cool. I think that's it. We'll wrap this one up.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, brother.
Good to see you.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for listening. Till next time.
See you next week.